I don't know, it's a weird one, Wind Ranger. It's flashy, but the reward, the payoff for that flashiness doesn't feel amazing. Shackled stun is it's nice, but it just doesn't feel like the high impact stun you want. Execration do take the Spirit Breaker, so it's kind of open how they run these lanes, right? They could go with Bat Rider mid coming through for Bob, off lane Spirit Breaker for Raging. They could still maybe run Wind Ranger mid, Bat Rider off lane, support Spirit Breaker. Could then be an option as well. So a lot of flexibility, really good early timing so for Execration. You don't need too much farm to be up and running fast. They only really need travels on the Bat Rider, maybe a blink up as well, and you can kind of run and gun with your Spirit Breaker, with your Wind Ranger, with her Wind Run. They can all kind of catch up and get the targets they want, chain stun, find the kills. So they have a lot of potential to punish something slow like the Spectre. Right? It takes a while to farm. You can use Haunt defensively to get out the charge and stuff. But that's a really long cooldown to use to just escape. That is something Execration can punish.
Absolutely. A GXR, fourth pick for themselves now. There's so much Disable on the side of Execration at the moment. Definitely going to be a little bit frightening for GXR. It just feels like every hero on the side of Execration has a stun. Hell, Spirit Breaker right now is basically like an Earthshaker in some sense, right? You just have so many stuns. Just having the Spirit Breaker alone can be enough stuns for the whole team sometimes, especially once you have the Aghanim Scepter up. GXR, they're going to go down the Shadow Demon route. More stacking to be done. I believe Paulison does enjoy playing SD quite a lot, though I suppose you could also just fang it over to Jokam if you really want. Either way, still works quite nicely into the Bat Rider, into the Wind Ranger, into the Spirit Breaker. That disruption, just so much value already.
Yeah, it's good save up against that lasso on the Spirit Breaker, good save against the Spirit Breaker charge, and it does give you a lot of options to just sustain yourself or at least prevent your big core from being picked off ASAP. So I like that response here with the Shadow Demon, gives him good options, and as you mentioned, stacking game is something we've seen a lot from the Shadow Demon. Nothing really changes from that. In lane, it's not really punished by anything in particular. I guess you could just aim to charge down Shadow Demon with Spirit Breaker if it is going to be on that pause 5. Doesn't really matter. I don't think the Shadow Demon will care as long as the Spectre gets space to farm. So it kind of evens out. We're going to have to see how GXR closes. It does feel like they're lacking a Mizu hero on the off lane, but they could still flex Tiny off and give Alacrity something else mid. I'm just wondering if they do go with the mid Tiny, like up against Bat Rider, sure you can toss away from the Firefly and sticky Napalm up, but if you're caught in a bad angle, you just kind of burn out. So there's a lot more for the Bat Rider to play with there. And I think we've seen Alacrity, again, just struggle against Bat Rider matchups, no matter what hero. Like his Void Spirit struggles against Bat Rider. I don't think the Tiny does that much better in that matchup.
No, I'd certainly agree with that. I mean, poor old Alacrity. He just never catches a break when it's against this Bat Rider. And it does start to feel like it is probably going to be Bob on that hero. I suppose they can still throw Raging on the Bat Rider, but then where are you going to throw the Spirit Breaker? Where's the Wind Ranger going to go? I'd say it's more than likely going to be a 3 Spirit Breaker, 4 Wind Ranger, and yeah, they'll go with the Pos 1 Morphling. What is it? Oh,
TNC draft.
What's that? Sorry,
The old
TNC draft. Yeah,
the Ags.
They've got the Wind Ranger and the Spirit Breaker Ags. So Wind Run plus Charge going to be very, very nice, but I think the Charge is probably the more important one. Leshrac is the pickup here from GXR, so it looks like they are going to tempo set within your dreams. Pos 1 Leshrac and a Pos 3 Spectre.
All right.
This is your
shake
fault.
Up from...
No, this is your fault, Johnny. Because, you bring up these really stupid ideas, right? Like, you say support Spectre's going to be a thing. And I'm like, John, there's no way support Spectre's going to be a thing. GXR, they know this. They're not idiots. So these are professional. They know this. You can't run support Spectre. But what do they do to try and make you look a little bit better? They go Pos 3 Spectre. they meet you in between.
I don't know about this. I mean, I like the Leshrac in general because it does give them very fast win condition. Spectre off lane, it's like, okay, you're gonna try to hold down the Morphling. There is some good aggression with Snapfire, Cookie, and Dagger to chase down, get some damage off. Can be decent. I don't know beyond that. We're gonna have to see how much Mizu can get done with the spec. I guess you build up for, say, a fighting build. Maybe Drums, Echo Saber is a play around Haunt and kind of go from there. That sounds plausible, but the big issue is that Haunt is still long cooldown. So we'll have to wait and see for Execration. I am keen to see if Tino does go Ags and he has an Ag shard, does he get his own Gale Force as well? Because that sounds pretty hilarious.
I don't think so, John. I don't think the shards works that way, but you know, you never know, John. There might be a bonus feature in the Morphling that we haven't seen quite yet. I don't think the Gale Force is really that important anyway. I think he just wants the charge from Raging, along with the Bulldoze, and maybe if he's feeling a little bit cheeky, go for the Wind Run instead, just depending on what he feels like here in the Morphling. They've certainly given him all the options. And it's not like Tino has much to be afraid of, John, because he's against the POS 3 Spectre. So I imagine there's going to be no pressure being applied on Tino. Then again, last game they had a massive lead, and GXR, they still managed to pull off the victory and keep their streak going. So I obviously don't like the position 3 Spectre. Yeah. But how can I say it's bad when Mizu, apparently his last game, he went 21 and 23 in terms of KDA. 1 death, 20 kills, 23 assists on the Spectre. Maybe he's been practicing this off-lane Spectre as the tips are coming out.
It's been a while, right? Like, Miracle used to be POS 1. You know, I remember the times of T1 Miracle. I remember the times of Reality Rift for Miracle as well with the Spectre. So, maybe, you know, he's... I don't know the itemization, but he knows how to play the hero is what I'm trying to say. You know, he's very familiar with the ins and outs of Spectre. In fact, I remember for a long time in last year's Pro Series, when Spectre was already being ignored by a lot of players, he was still going back to it. Like, Miracle kept going back to it. So he knows the ins and outs of this hero. We just have to see what the game plan is from offlane. Again, I'm thinking Haunt, I'm thinking Drums, maybe Echo Saber Drums, maybe a Vanguard if you want to be tanky up front. And just try to go for Abyssal down the line. That could be one way, but that does still take a lot of farm. Now, the good thing is, with the POS 1 Lesh, you can have In Your Dream take early farm priority, hit his power spikes, then hand it over to Mizu. So it's like a POS 1 transitioning into the tree, and the tree transitioning into 1. It will take time, but that crossover is there for GXR in the end.
Pub games have been in absolute shambles recently, John. I'm getting POS 1 Pudges, mid snipers. It's too much. Like, I'm getting all these ridiculous pickups from my teams, and now, long behold, Mizu wants to ruin them even more now with the position 3 Spectre. Let's all take a moment of silence and pray that this position 3 Spectre does not work. Because if it is, you know, we're all going to have to just stay off Dota for a couple weeks. You know, just let the players get their POS 3 Spectres out, get it out of the way. Let them lose enough MMR, and then we'll come back later. Assuming Mizu wins.
Assuming so. I think, you know, you gotta hand it to GXR. They're on an RR just specifically targeting Miracle as well. Like, good luck, Galvin, on your Spectre offlane. Oh, gosh.
Mid lane, Raging, gonna run right past GXR, so we'll just kind of ignore them. Just keep them in the wind. They don't really want to go for that level 1 team fight yet, it seems like, on the side of Execration. I suppose against the Leshrac, against the Tiny, the SD, you don't really want to try and force a fight too early if you can avoid it. GXR, they're going to keep trying, though. Make a rush in. To Execration, they'll take a bounty rune away, but that's going to be about it. RR, he already got another one for his team. Scatterblast is there. They're going to try and fight a bit more into this Ogre. They'll get the damage out. RR actually taking a substantial amount of damage. And that'll be about it.
That is a way to play it, I guess. You've got pretty good movement slow with Scatterblast. The slow from Spectral Dagger will allow you to chase down. If you can isolate heroes and get your Desolate up, you can kind of find some pickoffs with that duo of Mizu, Spectre, and Jocam's Snap. They are still laning against a really tanky Ordered Magi for RR, and Tino and a Morphling. He's going to be fine. You know, maybe initial levels, there might be a few scares with the magical damage coming through from Jocam, especially by level 2. But once you hit level 3, with a level 2 attribute shift, you're going to be fine and dandy. The burst is not going to be enough to really burn through Morph, and that should lead to stable farm for Tino in this lane if all things go according to plan.
Mid lane, of course, Alacrity going to be there against Bob. Bob and Alacrity. I mean, Alacrity, he's seen these Bat Riders so many times by this point, and he suffers every single time. I mean, you already kind of talked about this during the draft phase. We'll see if he can make it work this time. I mean, at least in the Tiny, for now, he is ahead in terms of CS. But that's not really what he has to be worried about. It's when you hit that level 2 and level 3 timing on Bob, you know he's going to want to have to go for a dive underneath that tier 1 tower. And it's going to be a matter of whether Alacrity can kind of avoid that big gank with the Firefly and all the sticky napalm being thrown out.
Yeah, I think the good thing for Bob is, for Alacrity, is that he's got Toss. So if he is dived on, he's got a Toss to kind of stall out. He's got the Avalanche stun as well to play with, so he's not always going to be in danger.
Oh, looks like JoeCam ends up going down. First blood down to the bot lane is now Mizu has been caught out. No dagger to throw out now on Tino. Again, can just chase him down because he's playing position 3 Spectre. He won't get the kill. But you tell me, John, what's he meant to do on this hero in the offlane? I'm really curious now. I'm not trolling. I don't know what Mizu's plan is.
Hold out, get your levels, get some initial farm. I guess Drums and Echo Saber are the only items you can really hope for. If you can catch out Tino like that, it's pretty nice. He does have the Desolate up, but they're not really going to go to chase. They know Tino's still a very hard target to jump. Eventually, I think it's just playing a greedy off lane, just putting him on the backseat of farm, transitioning to the one later down the line. That's really the only play. Like, as soon as the Leshrak's ready, he takes the backseat, and Mizu takes control. He becomes a win condition. So GXR's kind of juggling around to pause one. We'll see if it does pay off, and if they can hold true to this rather slower start for the lane. Like, Mizu, he's just never going to have a really good time here. He is still keeping up in CS, so that is some good news, but not really enough to hold back the Morphling in any manner.
Top lane in your dream, of course, in that pos 1 Leshrak there with Polison on the SD. Against Raging Potato on BDZ. Basically the 2 targets that Morphling will be aiming to morph into. Once he does get that Aghanim Scepter up, however, mid lane, looks like there is a bit of a chase onto Bob as Alacrity was being dived, but will be able to survive through it. Bob needs to be a little bit cautious as GXR. It seems like they're respecting the Batrider and the way Alacrity has had to put up with it over the past few weeks. And now they just ensure that there's support around to ensure he does survive through that Firefly.
Yeah, I like that change up. I think Alacrity is such a key part of GXR's early game that you have to give the guy an early start. So you have to invest in the resources to make sure he's not completely run down. And for the most part, he's up there in CS. He's ahead of the Batrider. Good news. Should hit his level 6 spike, should hit his blink spike very nicely, and that's when you can really start running.
Well, Mizu and JoeCam able to secure RR, and now Tino still trying to go after the Spectre, but Mizu is able to juke and jive with that Spectral Dagger, and is going to be able to survive. And JoeCam still in front of the Spectre. Tino can waveform in about 4 seconds, but I might actually try for it here. Mizu has a mango. No, he will go down. Tino able to secure a very easy kill there. As meanwhile, the top lane, Paulson drops very low on the Shadow Demon, but looks like he's going to be fine to salve up and survive. Instead, though, they are going to move in onto the Wind Ranger. Split Earth is there from In Your Dream, and BDZ is also going to end up dropping across the map. As In Your Dream secures his first kill of the game.
And that's something you have to watch out for Execration. That disruption into stun combination for GXR is very basic, very simple, very easy to pull off. And that's one way that this Leshrak can get off to that running start. Arcane Boots already up. He can sustain the mana spam of himself and his Shadow Demon support. And they can keep that aggression going. Again, that's the key. They're playing the one on a much faster position. They're going to switch it over to the Spectre once In Your Dream can get some space out on the map. And then just go from there. So they just have to get that early start up top.
Bot lane, RR ends up dropping again. Mizu trying to back off, but Tino, he was getting rather aggressive. As Scatterblast comes through, but JoeCam won't have quite enough to finish him off. Tino's going to be alright. In the meantime, Raging Potato does end up going down to Alacrity, and now Mizu!
What?
Oh, he gets the dagger. That was completely blind as well from Mizu. You know what? If he's going to play it like that, just give him the tip. Let him play Pulse 3 Spectre. Who cares? If he gets kills like that, how can I call it bad?
Yeah, it's still a Mizu Spectre. You know, as we said, he's been playing it for years from the pause 1. He knows the ins and out, even though in the pause 3 it's a bit different. He does go for the Urn build. So I remember this being one of his preferred build-ups on a Spectre back in the day, so it is a more aggressive playstyle, focusing on Haunt, focusing on running people down with a dagger and Desolate. And once he has a couple of charges up, you can expect him to take that activity overdrive. Bob is still hanging around bot though, but he is under a ward, so that should be enough information for GXR to play it slightly safe.
They've got the lasso up. They really want to go for the dive in, but he's got help around. They're already reading the movement of Bob on this Batrider. That's going to make it a very tough time for him now, as he does at least spot out the stacks that were made. It's just a double stack, though. I mean, you could certainly take it right now if you're Bob, but we've seen this before. In fact, he does get scanned out now. And they might rotate and try to punish the Batrider for this as JoeCam. He's going to show up. And that'll ensure Bob does make his way out, but it does seem like he wants to continue trying to contest. Still, Alacrity is there with the Avalanche. Bob trying to loop around the long way, but just can't quite find the opening, as now Mizu shows up with the dagger out. Cookie, not going to quite land. And Bob, he will manage to get down to the low ground. Be able to survive on the Batrider. But he is unable to take those stacks away, and well, this whole time, he's not farming, John. As a Batrider with the farm he has right now, it's a pretty abysmal kind of game.
Yeah, the GXR is just forcing Execration to look to be aggressive, to kind of salvage out the bot lane. I don't think they expected this bot lane to be such a struggle for Tino. He's still kind of up there in CS, but not as much as the Lesh. He's not getting as much free farm. His build-up is going to be a bit slower, of course. His timings are a bit later on the Morphling. Is going for a Falcon Blade build-up. So a little bit of early presence there to play with. Some HP, some mana regen, and damage, always good in the hero. But you can see GXR, they're just kind of forcing him back. Mizu's got Haunt ready. Again, with a Urn, it's going to be really nice if he does have a charge. If not, he can use the Haunt to find that first charge. And they're hitting the point where Alacrity is hitting like a truck. So if they find an opening, could be a nice Haunt kill with the Avalanche toss.
We'll see. Tino, daggered up. In your dreams around. Cookie's going to land. Split Earth is going to be there to follow up. Tino, he should still be able to waveform, and does with the TP out. And they can't cancel. But they do force the retreat of the Morphling. And that's going to allow the side of GXR to go in, secure that bottom tier 1 tower. And you know, with the draft like this, when in your dreams playing that POS 1 Leshrac, you always want to start to slowly rotate into the mid lane, through the bot lane after the tier 1 tower is taken, and naturally start working on towards that mid tier 1 tower, as RR does get spotted, but a very nice Cookie JoeCam setting up perfectly. And RR, he tried to get away, but that Cookie right on the edge, and guess what? Even RR's courier goes down. JoeCam, he'll take that as well.
Yep, they're just finding every little bit here on GXR. 3-7, 2k lead up at the 9-minute mark. And they're making that off-lane Spectre work. So, hey, you know, it's shaping up. In your dreams, taking the more active position on the Lesh. He's just forcing aggression in the bot lane, forcing responses out of TPs. They are getting space out for Alacrity to hit this blink timing on his Tiny. Only about 400 gold off. So you are going to hit some major strides here down the line. Once that Tiny blink is up, your initiation's ready to go. You can just look and find those pickoffs. You can look to play with a Haunt at that point and just start ramping up the aggression. For Execration's part, they are just getting some space out for Bob as well, clearing out some stacks in the jungle. He is close to his travels, 400 gold away as well. And once the travels up, it's easier for him to run up, follow up in the stuns that Range Potato wants. I think the thing that's lacking for Execration is that aggression we were expecting from the Spirit Breaker off isn't quite there yet. Like, Raging's trying to rush around, but he knows he can't commit with no other core ready to back him up. Like, the Batrider's just not set for it yet. So in that downtime, in that interim period, GXR is working the map a lot better. This does favor them, this kind of pace.
Oh, Bob? Interesting TP down to the bot lane. I don't know what he can get out of this. He'll try onto In Your Dream with the lasso out, but he's dropping very, very fast. They will eventually get the Leshrac though, but they might lose Raging. Mizu will chase him down, haunts up, Urn charges out, and Raging is gone. JoeCam gonna try and run. Instead, they'll turn in onto RR, and eventually they should be able to find another kill onto this Spectre. Mizu, he'll give this one over to Polison as they'll move in onto BDZ. Focus fire or not, it looked like it's not even going to be enough. Mizu just surrounds. Power shot is off the mark. Shackles is there, but what does it matter? They give 2 kills over to the offlane Spectre. And in the end, that was 4 heroes going down for the sake of killing off In Your Dream. Certainly not worthwhile for the side of Execration.
No, and even that kill in Your Dream, he got the kill on Bob first. So he still got something from that exchange. The Leshrac wasn't completely shut out from the XP gain. They are getting some space out for Tino to clear up top lane. So he is going to be able to find that tier 1. Alacrity is hanging around. He does have his Blink Dagger up. But Tino is not fully morphed into Agi, so he's got some strength to play with. Means that they can't fully commit for the kill opportunity, and should lead to Alacrity himself just kind of hanging around. And your dream is in the area.
Yeah, Avalanche toss is there. Split Earth's gonna land. He was unable to get the strength morph off in time. Quick reactions out from Alacrity and in your dream. And well, unfortunately for Tino, there's really not much he could have done. I mean, once he's tossed up in the air, what can you do?
Yeah, it's I mean, he was taking farm where he can. I don't think he expected Alacrity to hang around after the tier 1 fell that fast, so they get the punishment and they get the smoke up. This is the beautiful thing with Tiny. You don't have any cooldowns for this aggression.
GXR currently in the opposite triangle, and so are the side of Execration, but GXR, they're the ones to draw first blood. In the triangles, at least. This is mid lane. Charges out from Raging, but he's a rather slow target right now, as Avalanche is going to cut him off. Alacrity, he's unable to find the toss back. And Nether Strike's going to be there onto Paulison. They'll try to waveform forward and take him down, but Disruption's there. They got the stun off Tino. He needs to retreat ASAP. He's still trying to chase the Shadow Demon and does eventually get him, but it costs him his own life. Eventually, they at least kill off In Your Dream. Mizu dropping quite low. They'll get the Spectre to boot. So ultimately, not too bad for Execration, as they will continue to clean up. Alacrity, cooking forward, just trying to help out with the toss out. Everyone falling quite low, and now Mizu, he'll haunt back in with the buyback right after Bob and RR. Can he find the secondary kill? It looks like he probably will. Oh, did he get the earn off? He did. Mizu, still going to be just fine. Toss back into BDC, who will use the pig out. But it's still looking really bad now for Execration. It's a nice shackle, but it's not going to be enough. The dispersion back the way of BDC as Raging is going to get bashed. I believe that was the Avalanche and not Roshan. I can't be 100% sure though.
Yeah, it's back and forth. It works out for GXR. That was Mizu's first haunt, right? Like, he actually ended up pop it in the last fight. It's very impactful of him. He has the full Spirit Vessel up. Like, that's just ridiculous from the off lane. Now you're morphling, the attribute chip is not going to sustain him anymore. And that just leads to a massive power spike for GXR. They're just playing this aggressive Spectre really well.
Tino. After Alacrity now, as Alacrity did initiate on him, but on the other side, Bob has been purged up by Paulison. Losing a lot of HP already. Cookie, it's on the mark. Mizu finds another, as now the charge through from Raging. Who's he going after? He wanted to try on Alacrity, but he's going to be just fine as the shackles back around onto Jokan, but he's still alive. They're trying to waveform forward. They do eventually get him. Mizu, Paulison, they've been left behind, but not for long, as In Your Dreams here now to try and help out. A toss forward onto BDC, and they'll get the stun off. Raging, though, he still wants to try and fight this one out. He does charge forward, but Alacrity's not going to go down. It's another kill to go the way of Mizu. And John, I'd appreciate if you hold off on the compliments for now on the Spectre.
Yeah, Mizu's... Okay, well, we'll not talk about Mizu. Alacrity was playing on edge there, right? Like, he's been very on point with using the Avalanche to cancel off the charges. Unfortunately, Raging Potato was laying in like 3 hits, no bash after the charge. If he at least found a bash, he might have gotten that kill on Alacrity, so the trade didn't feel too bad. Overall, GXR is still finding a ton of space. They're still playing this aggressive playstyle. The Morphling is forced to join in with no items to back it up. Like, the Morphling's not at its power spike yet. Even if you can turn into Tiny, get some good damage off. Falcon Blade Power Treads does not make a strong Morphling. Not yet. The Yasha's going to come out, maybe looking at the full S&Y, maybe a Manta for defense, probably the S&Y just for the stat resist, though, and the strength. And look at GXR. They just don't need to wait. They don't have any big spells beyond Haunt. Even then, the Haunt doesn't feel necessary.
Shackle's not going to latch there on Paulison. Bob. Oh, Avalanche, no disruption. They did not chain properly, but it won't matter anyways. The toss is up with the Mortimer's Kisses. And Bob is going to drop. Nice easy pick off there for GXR. And I'll tell you what, Bob, he's having a very rough game right now on this Bat Rider. 3, 4, and 3. Why can I not see the items? Is this a joke? What am I missing?
Yeah,
here,
we have to go into the scoreboard and then show items, and that's how we see dead people items now. That's it.
Oh, good. Okay, there you go. So he's only got the boots of travel up right now. I mean, it's 16.5 minutes in for a Bat Rider. It's not amazing farm, that's for sure.
No, it's been slow going. It goes back to GXR just giving Alacrity a better time by him playing a bit more defensively, by not getting jumped, by not dying to Bat Rider in lane, and that made all the difference. Alacrity hits his spike faster, he sets up for the team. Raging is just playing tag.
He just got double bashed while trying to charge through the Roshan pit, John. That's what just happened.
It happens, you know.
He gets a salve, though. He's alright.
That's nice. Yeah, shovel, it's always good. What else is good is Mizu's buildup. I want to talk about this. He's rushing the Ags right after the Spirit Vessel, so he'll have that Shadow Staff. Just look for the targets to kill, get the Spirit Vessel off. If you're isolated, you get your Desolate off, and you just keep that aggression up. I love this. He's actually allowed to farm it up. They haven't punished the Spectre off lane. They did try to gank him up a couple of times. It just didn't line up. And now, you know, once that Ags is up on Mizu, you can expect him to be even more aggressive. And he doesn't just rely fully on that Haunt. He's got more spells to play with.
What a shame here for Bob as well, John. I mean, he found the Fey Grenade, but it doesn't work like it used to anymore. So it could have been the comeback mechanic he was looking for, but now instead he might just die as top lane. They do haunt in. Mizu already there to get the vision. Bob's going to try and run, but the Avalanche does connect. And now with the toss in, Bob is just going to drop Alacrity to take another kill on the Tiny. And, I mean, Execration, maybe they feel confident with their morph combinations later on in the game. Right now, things are very, very tough as Paulison. Gonna find Raging. Mortimer's Kiss is there. And there's a very, very slow charge going on right now. He might just make it, though. And he does, although... No, it's not enough. Stick charges were there. The tree toss proving not to be enough damage, but now Fire Blast forward with the shackles out and the power shot. But Disruption is going to be used defensively on Alacrity, and he will make his way out. Unless BDZ can land a very nice power shot, and he does try. In fact, there is a charge flying in. Raging. Gonna connect. Cookie's there. Joe Cam trying to help out, but the Nether Strike is gonna hit as well. In Your Dream's gonna move in. You'll lose Raging for this, but he does at least get Alacrity down. Now the lasso, but Disruption was there to save Joe Cam, but he's a sitting duck. Tino takes him down with the waveform as they look for more now, and that's a great shackles out from BDZ. Landing on both. In Your Dream is going to pop the Bloodstone active. Is it going to be enough to survive? It doesn't seem like it. Tino able to clean up. In fact, Bob's the one that claims the kills on the Bat Rider. GXR, they're going to be a little bit wary. I mean, it does seem like without the Haunt up and the Spectre, they can't really afford to fight like that.
Yeah, they got a bit greedy staying in the triangle after Mizu TP'd out. They didn't quite manage to retreat as a team, and they got punished for the split up. So good turnaround from Execration to find some big kills, especially on that Lesh. They're starting to build up a little bit more, start to catch up, close out that net worth lead. 3K still for GXR, so they're still in a pretty good position despite that loss. But they have to be careful about bleeding out. We talked about the shortcomings of Tiny. It is still on a bit of a timer. Same thing goes for Leshrac. You know, you have to play really early, and the only time you feel comfy as the game goes on is once your Spectre's online. But because Mizu is going for this sort of unorthodox build with the Ags, it's going to be a while until he gets bigger items to get him more stats, to give him more forward presence in fights. So the transitory period isn't quite there for him to become like the POS 1. And that does mean that Lesh and Tiny still have to dish out the damage, but be careful about losing their streaks, giving out some golden openings, because it will still be impactful for Execration. The Ags is up for Mizu, though. So again, he's got something else to play with beyond just the Haunt. And he can look to be really aggressive. I didn't realize the cooldown is really mixed up. Tooltip says 35, but the timer says 30, so there you go.
I'll tell you, the only thing Mizu's playing with right now, John, is my MMR. Because I know what's coming after this game. Smoke up GXR. Gonna move in, RR. Gonna be able to break the smoke with the Shadow Amulet, but eventually does get caught out by Joe Cam. He'll keep trying to abuse the Shadow Amulet, but how much detection do you have? Yeah, Paulison, he had plenty. More than enough. On the bright side for Execration, they only lose the POS 5 Ogre, so not really too big of a deal here.
Yeah, not the biggest loss in the world. You are still buying space out for Tino to get his farm up. He's got the Manta. So he's got some decent stats on hand. Form self-dispel on hand as well, though. Down bottom.
Got Joe Cam, but it's a lot of rotations coming in, and Joe Cam's still not dying. Firefly might be enough in the end, but no, the disruption. Paulson, he'll make sure Joe Cam survives. You commit that much, and he still survives at the end. It's just so demoralizing. If you're Execration, that's just so sad to watch.
Yeah, it's not what you're looking for sure. I think at this point, Execration's just really trying to buy space out for Tino. And so they're tossing heroes forward, trying to make plays. If they find a kill, great. If not, it's space for the Morph. And you just build up on the hope that your Morphling will outscale the Lush, which it will. Like, especially once the BKB is up for Tino, he's going to have a lot of space. Mizu's not giving him too much space, though, using that Shadow Step.
It's not good news, John. I mean, Mizu's able to Shadow Step in. Think about it, though. He Shadow Steps in, uses Spirit Vessel and Dagger, and Tino has to run. It's just... It's concerning, is it not? Like, I mean, I know it's a Pos 3 Spectre that's kind of transitioning to the Pos 1 role, but for Tino's sake, you just get haunted or Shadow Stepped on like that and you have to run away. Like, you don't have a choice in the matter. You just have to get out.
Oh. Bob?
Speaking of, Mizu, Shadow Stepping again over to Bob this time. Bob's going to be okay, but look at the damage. Does this make you happy?
Cooldown. It's the cooldown. It's 30 seconds where you're globally there. And you get information. It's kind of ridiculous.
Avalanche off the mark there. The disruption was already committed. Alacrity now going to get Avalanche tossed up. Tino trying to get the damage up. Another toss out from Alacrity. Gust is there. Shackles from lockdown in your dream. Nether Strike as well. But they can't finish the job off yet. In your dream, he'll back out as Raging. He'll be the one to drop. Bob now, he'll take over the job. He'll get it done on the Batrider. Wants a Paulson, but disruption is going to save as the tree throw. Not going to be enough, but Mizu, he'll chase him down and he'll get the Batrider kill on the Spectre. And there's some weird runic thing on my screen now for this Spectre Arcana. Don't know what it means, but I imagine he's hit some kind of objective with the Spectre Arcana and gets the kill now as he pump fakes the Shadow Step.
That cooldown. That fixes all the issues with Spectre to an extent, right? Like, the issue with Spectre is that Haunt is so bloody long. 180 seconds, 160, 140. Way too long of downtime. But Shadow Step on one hero is 30 seconds. So that's 30 seconds where you can pop in, get information on the map for some reason, and just kind of harass out. Force a response, make the move strange. There he goes again. Just using it every single time to get info out and force a response. Feel where the enemy heroes are. It's just so strong on GXR Sand. And Execration, again, they're still building up in that morph. Slowly but surely, Tino is going to hit a spike. But he has to keep saving up on that farm.
Bollison, he found RR, and there goes your Haunt out. That was not the Shadow Step, but rather the Haunt onto Tino. And Mizu will have no way to cancel this TP off. The Tino just already gets out as now RR is just completely surrounded by GXR. They'll get another kill. There's the Shadow Step out. Where are we headed, Mizu? Nowhere. No, in fact, we found BDZ. That's where he was headed. Tino gonna try and help with the Avalanche toss, but it's nowhere near enough, Tino. And unfortunately for Tino, Raging, Bob, they've moved in. They've got in your dream. Nice pick up on the left rack, but now Raging Potato's gonna be in trouble and Tino's dead. Alacrity gets it with the Avalanche toss combination. Raging Potato to go down to Mizu.
It's up again.
It's up again.
30 seconds for an ult.
Why are you laughing, John? Why does this make you so happy?
Because it's ridiculous. I just love these busted things popping out. You know, people theorycraft, yeah, Ags is pretty nice, it's single, but Mizu just makes it look amazing, you know?
Yep, like right now, because it's back off cooldown again for some reason, John. RR gets caught out. Luckily, at least TPs are going to be able to get you out, and Alacrity doesn't land the Avalanche to cancel it off, and Mizu, rightfully so, gives them the tip.
Yeah, a bit on edge. They almost got it. Good D ward coming out from RR, so they take some of that vision away from the triangle. GXR 17 to 36, 7k lead, and we are seeing Mizu start to catch up in farm. Number 2 net worth now. So the shift is coming through. Bob.
Yule's up. He's trying to chase here, Bob. We'll eventually back off, as I think he realized he may have been just going too far forward. He has the blink up at least, so blink up on your Batrider now. That's definitely good news. See what he can get done with that. Tino, it's sad because he's struggling to take down that Shadow Step illusion. That's what really upsets me, John. Not the cooldown, not the fact that it's global, the fact that a Morphling is struggling to deal with it.
You're being held off from the Roche with a Gale Force. Good use of that spell.
What has Dota turned into? What has Dota turned into, John? What is this? Roshan? Power Shot's gonna keep the vision. Shadow Step out again though. BDC? He's gonna be spared. In fact, that was a haunt out this time around. There's your Shadow Step. Where's he going? Raging? He's gonna die. Looks like Mizu decided to go nowhere with that Shadow Step.
Just a warning shot. He does have the Yasha up, hitting the Manta, so we're about to see an actual Pos 1 Spectre item build come in after that early Vessel into Ags. And that's a transition point. That's a transitory point where In Your Dream starts to, you know, slow down and farm and still get a couple of items. BKB is going to be impactful for him, but the focus is going to be on Mizu. He's the big core you have to watch out for. All the theory crafting we did with Tino, you know, talking about Ags timing, stuff like that, he only has Manta BKB. He hasn't queued up Ags. I don't know if he's still going to want to go for that play with double charge, with maybe the Wind Run, and maybe double Gale Force if it works. He's still a long ways off from hitting those item spikes, so the Morphling still has a lot of room to grow. Although Alacrity...
Oh, mid lane. He has been caught out Tiny. Stuns out. He's been perma-locked down, and he's going to drop, so a nice pick up there from Execration. In the meantime, they lost that top tier 2. It's now Raging. Gonna try and rush forward. Does get stunned up by the cookie, and now the Shadow steps out onto Bob. They've got the dagger. Raging. He's gonna drop to Mizu. Mizu is godlike now on this Spectre as he's chasing down Bob. 12, 3, and 18 as Bob will at least be able to BKB TP away in time. In the meantime, mid lane, they've got BDZ down the Wind Ranger. Mortimer's Kisses. Oh, poor RR. He got scouted out. He'll try to avoid it with the Glimmer Cape. It's not going to be enough. Another Shadow Step again. Mizu. Onto Bob now.
Oh, no.
The Batrider's being chased down, and you can't really fly away from the Spectre because he has Spectral Tagger, so Mizu finds another kill.
Oh, God. You know what it is? If you think about the Ags on Spectre this way, right? It's a single target haunt, but it's a 30-second cooldown. Haunt is 140. Right, at max level, with CDR on top, it's 123. You basically get 5 single target haunts in the span that it takes haunt to go on cooldown. So you've basically got 2 haunts every single time, on paper.
Here we go, Raging, trying to delay here against In Your Dreams Leshrac.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Very, very hard game now for Execration. You're 11k behind GXR. Nice shackles out from BDZ. RR gonna move in. Charges there. Alacrity gonna be pushed in by the Gust. Now the Avalanche tosses out Tino. He's got the Tiny down, but Haunt is, or rather Spectral. The Shadow Step is in from Mizu onto Raging. And In Your Dream will take care of it. Double kill out, but he will lose the Aegis. So they've lost the Leshrac already. At least 1 life, but now the Haunt there to give all the vision over. Tino completely surrounded. Will be just fine. Lasso out. They've got Joe Cam, but Disruption is out to save his life. Firefly won't do enough quite yet as In Your Dream's looking to move in. A nice blink away as well. In Your Dream, he may have gone too far this time. They toss him up in the air. He finally comes back down, but he does survive through it. He kills off everyone mid-air. Just pulse novas them down into RR. Now they found the Ogre. Disruption just for the lols apparently from Polison. They'll find another kill out for JoeCam. It's just it's a 4 for 2 with two diebacks. It's just devastating.
Oh,
BDZ, yeah, he's been caught out as well. Another disruption for Polison. Polison's having a bit of a troll here as Tino now going to move in. Does get the Spectral Dagger for himself, but Mizu just going to turn back in onto the Spectre. Purge is there. Get the stun off, but is it going to be enough? He's not looking too healthy at the moment. He'll BKB and try to fight JoeCam, but he can't even find that kill. He just needs to back into the fountain as Mizu is going to TP right out. And in the end, Tino apparently does kill off JoeCam.
Yeah, that was a scary position. He bought back to try to force a defense. He does find a kill, holds off on the high ground push of GXR. But it's a precarious spot now for Execration. 18k down, 20 to 48, 32 minutes in. The GXR, they're just transitioning out. They're getting farm out onto Mizu. These solo haunts are hurting hard, just with a Manta. And he's going to have a Scotty up. So this is a full pause 1 Spectre coming through now. And I guess that's the beauty of having Mizu on offlane. He can still kind of play his pause 1 heroes. It is greedier, but it wasn't punished by Execration fully. And if he hits the Scotty timing, I don't know what you do about it. I don't know how you stop that Spectre at that point. Maybe if you isolate him from the rest of the team, just constantly hold him down with stuns and burst him, that could be the play.
Avalanche toss out. It's going to cancel the Raging Potato charge in. Shackles is there to hold down Alacrity, but now the Haunt's out. Tino needs the back again. Raging has been caught, but gets another strike to try and escape, but it's not going to be enough. They'll lose another life as the Shadow Step is back into the mid lane onto Bob. Mizu wants to keep up the chase on his own. And in the meantime, RR ends up going down to Alacrity on the Tiny. It's just looking so clean now for GXR. 20k net worth advantage. And it's... How do you stop them now? Like, it's just a matter of how do you actually kill the Spectre, kill in your dream. How do you get any of that done?
You need a lot of good chain stunts in one. Bob, he's dead.
My god, that is a lot of damage.
Desolate. He's alone. Desolate. Illusions come through with a Manta. And he has no buyback. So the mid push is still happening here from GXR. Trying to be stalled, but it's just BDZ and Tino right now.
That it is. They're still going to try and fight. BKB popped in your dream. He'll be chased down. But it won't be enough. They just don't have the damage yet. Shackles. Gonna hold down Alacrity at the least, but Mizu now shadow slipping back in. Avalanche toss. Was out on Tino. Disruption is there. They just keep hiding him around. He'll waveform towards the south. Mizu will happily chase him down along with In Your Dream. They should have enough damage, and it looks like they just may. Tino, he's still trying to strength morph, but he won't have enough strength to survive all the way to the fountain as RR. He gets caught out to boot. 17, 3, and 27 is the scoreline right now for Mizu. Really impressive performance here on this offlane Spectre. As he just won't stop.
I'm watching Spirit Breaker run away from the dagger. Just chased him across the map.
Oh, goodness me. I mean, it's... How do you defend? You've got no buyback on Tino. You do at least have a bot tier 2 tower available, so... You probably won't end up losing that, but Shadow Step is up. They'll find Raging. He'll try to pop his BKB. Actually does get a very nice Nether Strike off, but now the Mud Golems are against him. Charges in and he at least gets Alacrity. Nice kill from Raging. He gets something. Haunts back up though. JoeCam does end up dying in the Radiant base. And it looks like that's going to be about enough. GXR, they will leave the bot racks to be taken as the bot tier 2 tower is still there. Mizu will continue giving the tips over to poor old Alacrity.
Yeah, well, this is the point. Scotty's up.
Going after BDZ now.
How do you deal with this? Scotty, Spirit Vessel, you can't stop it. Even with the BKBs, once they fade, it's the same issue. You're at the point where BKBs are slowly trickling down to 6 seconds. That's just not enough time to kill off the Spectre and hold against her healing reduction.
Bob, get caught out In Your Dream. He just gets ripped apart. It's not even close. I mean, with a 27k net worth lead now, you look at those graphs, John, and it's looking increasingly more difficult to try and make a comeback. In fact, Dota Plus has altogether just given up. 100% the way of GXR. I don't know how long it's been like that, but it appears to be the last 6 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's just too much. Like, your Spectre's online, you don't have the answers yet on your Morphling. A lot more has to be farmed up. Mizu just runs in by himself now.
I don't think he's killable. He's got 4k HP. I actually don't think they can kill him anymore. RR's
Nope.
dead. On to another. Alacrity's going to find Tino. He'll force the waveform out as Tino's going to try and TP away, but they have enough damage.
Oh.
They're going for more. Raging. He's invis right now. He's going to run right into Joe Cam, but he has a gem up. On the Snapfires, that does mean you are probably going to lose a 4th hero now for Execration. They've even got the Gobble up just in case they need it. Though I doubt they do. I think things are looking very comfortable for GXR as they're now at a 30k net worth lead. Mizu! Alright, you can't just go diving fountains now, Mizu. Take it easy. Let's go for the tier 4 towers.
Yeah, they're going to take it out. No buybacks on any of the big heroes on Execration. They've got Bob back up, but it's really him and Ogre Magi against World right now. I don't think you can stop that. Like, you can maybe look for a lasso play into Fountain. That sounds like your best bet, but GXR aren't giving them that opening. They're going to go back for the tier 2 bot. They're playing it safe. They're going to clean out this game, not giving any openings. They want to maintain that win streak, Mike. If they find that win, that's going to be 12 games for them back-to-back. Execration backs against the wall. They want to stop that streak. But it's getting harder and harder to see the avenue they have left in this game. 34k behind, your Morphling. Tino is behind even Alacrity's farm, the Tiny. Not something you expect for a Morphling at this point. He does have the Ags. Maybe he makes something happen here.
It's very late, though. With this kind of a net worth deficit, I'm kind of intrigued to see what he can get done with the Aghanim Scepter now. He's basically got one shot to make it happen, but he's waiting on Raging to respawn up. Lasso's there. Haunt is out. They'll go right after Bob. Bob with the BKB might be able to run it now. Here comes the double charges out, but immediately it's cancelled off by Alacrity. They found Raging Potato. They'll get the SB down. They call it. All it took was one charge from Tino. It just immediately gets cancelled from Alacrity, and they have seen enough as they get dived in the fountain. And GXR, they will indeed continue their win streak. 12 in a row now.
I can't believe it. GXR, in first game in this series, they go for Tide and Weaver support. This time they go for off-lane Spectre. They somehow win that lane as well against Morphling. Tino wasn't getting as much. Surprisingly, Mizu was ahead in CS. And they just played a ground at aggression well. Spirit Vessel timing was on point. In Your Dream was very active early on. Alacrity held his lane against Bob's Batrider very well. I think that was the big part. Like, Mizu's lane being okay was like, yeah, whatever. It was more that your Tiny and your Leshrac hit these really good early spikes, and they didn't lose their matchups. Like, the Tiny, especially against Batrider, the fact that Alacrity found his win, got his blink timing on point, that gave them tools to play with the Haunts, that gave them tools to play with the Leshrac running around early and take those fights, and there just wasn't enough room for Tino to grow big.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a very, very tough series here. Execration, game 1, they definitely had that one in the bag, and it kind of got thrown back the other way. Game 2, all GXR. There's no other way to put it. We'll head off to a break, John. After that break, we are going to have Army Geniuses against the side of Young Gun Galacticos. So that should be a pretty fun matchup between those two in our third series of the night. It is going to be roughly 15 to 20 minutes before we do get to that series, though. So maybe just take a quick break yourselves. And we'll be back as soon as both teams are ready to go. See you then.